Welcome back to Data Center News Asia. James, headlines.
Headlines this week. Yes, we've got Digital Realty, Mitsubishi launching their new facility in Osaka. Then we're talking about the IGIS data center fund coming out of Korea. Moving swiftly on to a story of renewables in Indonesia with PDG. Then we've got 3 stories, I think, to cover in India this week. Yes, 3 stories in India. Before finishing on government commentary regarding Microsoft's data center outage.
Nice. I think we should work some puns in, like the headlines often have jokes and things wrapped into them on the weekend news. Anyway,
we need to get a staff of writers.
We should do that. We'll advertise
off the cuff.
Advertise
we don't have time to make up puns.
I'm quite enjoying the video editing, but I realise I'm a bit crap at it. So we should probably we'll get a team. That'd be good.
Yeah, okay.
Should we dive into Osaka then? That's the first one.
Yeah. So this was Digital Realty, or MC Digital Realty, the 50-50 joint venture between Mitsubishi and Digital Realty. They're launching their 4th data center on their Osaka campus. So this campus is Ibaraki area to the north of Osaka, where they have this will be the 4th building, 𝐂𝐞𝐬𝐬 13, just to confuse people slightly. This is going to be bringing on 21 megawatts when fully built out, and it's going to bring their capacity in Osaka to 70 megawatts. So pretty significant in Japan's second city.
Well, that's really the main facts of the story you've covered there, Jez. But so that will make them, I think, the biggest player in terms of what they've got live in Osaka, right? According to the leaderboard.
Yes, I believe so. Yeah.
So Osaka's continuing to grow. Then big overspill area from Tokyo, and this is all on a single campus. Are they like 4 similar sized buildings, or how do they work?
Yeah, well, it's 4 buildings of various different sizes. I'm actually just on the DC Byte leaderboard for Osaka right now, and NTT actually, as of right now, have got slightly more live capacity.
Sorry, NTT.
Yes, that's why we have DC Byte, right? And then NTT also have a pretty significant build pipeline, but yeah, Digital Realty and NTT are the 2 major players right now, with obviously Equinix's significant presence there as well. But again, another big kind of statement from that JV between, like I said, Digital Realty and Mitsubishi.
Excellent. And in Korea then, so this is the 2nd fund from IGIS, Asia Asset Management, and I think they're the Pan-Asian branch of IGIS, which is one of the biggest asset managers in Korea. So they've got about $50 billion under management in total. But this is the 2nd DC fund. I couldn't find any information on the 1st DC fund.
I didn't think to look before this. So,
but this is it's $151 million US, or 190 billion Korean won is the raise here, and this is from the team based in Singapore. And as I understand from the article, this was raised from Singaporean investors mixed with some of the Korean local investors, but no comment on where they will be deploying the capital.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting amount, $151 million. Interesting to see what they do with that, and if it's kind of goes into JVs or powered shells, or
you'd almost assume it's for a specific project. Like, I mean, this is rampant speculation,
which we don't do, of course. But yeah, that's one to keep an eye on.
Excellent. The PDG one. This was an interesting story. So they're buying geothermal energy in Indonesia.
Yeah, so you know more about the process of buying renewables in Indonesia, but PDG's got five facilities, including JC2, if I'm not mistaken, which is their new one. They've got, PDG as a group, I believe it is, have got commitments to be renewable energy powered by 2030. So I think this is the first step. And we were chatting obviously before this, and you said this is basically the best you can do in Indonesia, getting this kind of these power credits.
Yeah, I mean that's so part of the issue in Indonesia is there's not a legal framework available to buy power directly from the power companies, so you have to buy via PLN. So in this case, they bought the certificates for the geothermal power from a couple of the plants that are owned by Pertamina, who's also the state-owned oil and gas power producer. And Indonesia has about 235 megawatts of geothermal power online, which is pretty good, but as a country, they're still quite a long way behind their commitments to to bringing on more renewables. But one comment for this one is that PDG was actually the first company in Indonesia to buy the credits from PLN. So they're leading the way in terms of using this clean energy investment accelerator framework that Indonesia has. So good for them, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think it's going to obviously resonate with a lot of their customers and a lot of their potential customers as well, that they already have this in place. So yeah, congrats to the team. I think it's going to be powering 3 of their facilities. So
yeah, and the great thing with geothermal is it is the only renewable that actually provides a base load. So it's kind of perfect for data centers where you can get it. Hot tip. Oh, that was a geothermal pun.
Yeah, nice.
Do you want to talk about the new fund? This is a big one, but it's the first of the 3 India stories, and this is from Kotak Alternative Assets or Kotak Investment Advisors.
Yeah, so we spoke about this story last year, probably Q3 or Q4, quite a while ago now. But they have closed the fund, so they didn't quite get to their target. So their target was 800 million USD. I believe they closed it at 590. I think was what was reported. Again, I think they're probably looking to develop in the major markets in India now. So Mumbai, Chennai, Delhi, Bangalore, etc. But they don't. In this particular report, they didn't actually give an update on where they were looking to deploy this capital.
Yeah.
But still a pretty significant amount, like 600 million, well, close to $600 million, will get you decent, but pretty big footprint actually in India. So yeah, interesting to see what happens here.
Yeah, I mean, all we know about them so far, the statement in the article was from Rahul Shah, who's one of the exec directors of the fund, and he said that they would be providing strategic risk capital and value add support, which is suitably vague for what they'll be offering. And Subramkar Das is the COO. He's the only big hire that I've seen there now. He used to be one of the big VPs at Nextra. So they are getting started, but I think we'll have to wait until the press releases drop onto what they're actually going to be investing in. STT, this one is a bit more specific, I guess. This is their MOU with the Uttar Pradesh government.
Yeah, so STT, the India operation, is obviously like one of the big players in India. They've signed this MOU, which will see them develop projects of up to $1 billion US.
4,100 crore.
Yeah, Rhys is putting a lot of time into getting the crore and the what's the other one? Lax.
I don't really get out of bed for lax, but crore the big one.
Anyway, so this is like I said, these developments are going to be Noida, and they also mentioned Lucknow. So Noida is obviously that city, that planned city, I suppose. I didn't know that until I realized that Noida actually is an acronym for something. There you go. So congrats to the STT team. Another big development in Delhi's really hotting up, a lot of action there. I've actually booked flights to go there in May to check it out and see some of these facilities. So very timely, this announcement.
Yeah, Uttar Pradesh is the region. From the map, it's like Delhi is on the border of Uttar Pradesh, but I guess this is where they're building the data centers, it seems, because this is the government who have been involved in most of those announcements. And this is separate, actually, to us, because we reported on STT end of last year, another 1,300 crore or $325 million US MOU with the Karnataka government. So STT are really, I guess, making tracks with the local authorities to get these things rolled out. Yeah,
well, like they've got a track record in India. They've got customers in India. So I expect this project to be another success story for the STT team.
The last India one, I thought this was a bigger news story than it was, but you corrected me. This is quite a small data center here, but it's a new player, to me anyway, called Cyfuture.
Yeah, so they're. I don't think we'd really describe them as a DC operator in the sense of an STT, for example. But they have announced their 5th facility, which is in Chennai. Probably more of a hosting company, I would say. But anyway, it's 500 racks that they're going to be bringing to Chennai in the first phase. So the fact that it's first phase suggests that there will be multiple stages. So 500 racks. Between 2-3 megawatts, I would guess, the size of that in terms of IT load. But yeah, just another piece of the ecosystem. Like not everything can be 50 megawatt hyperscale monsters. So that is worth keeping an eye on that project and to see where else they go next, because obviously they're now kind of dotting themselves around the key cities, key metros in India.
India is absolutely the place to watch. Side plug, I will be posting up James's very popular India Insights video series from last year, where he does some interviews from the conferences, just doing a bit more of a market deep dive. We just had a lot of requests for what's going on in India, which the answer seems to be an awful lot.
Yes, and yeah, hence my trip there, which I have booked for May to Delhi and Chennai.
Last one is the government has talked about the Microsoft outage. So I think a lot of people have been talking about the outage, but in Singapore it is very important what the government has to say. And the quote I had was, "Not all our eggs are in one basket." Ominous for Microsoft?
No. So this was the outage, which was the 8th of February, so last week. Yeah, a number of different businesses, etc., were impacted. Not all our eggs in one basket, I think, is a very appropriate app here, because I think this gives an example of of the Singapore government's strategy in terms of spreading the risk, I suppose. So, interestingly, the CPF website went down, but the CPF app did not. So, just an example of how obviously they are using Microsoft, but I think they're also using the other cloud players as well, just to ensure that should one have an outage, that not everything goes down. So yeah, I thought that was kind of an interesting subplot to that outage. Yeah,
I love a good subplot. Often more exciting than the main plots when you really reflect on the film or book.
Yeah, interesting viewpoint, right?
Is there anything else that we're plugging this week?
I don't believe so.
Fantastic, a good plug-free session. Well, on that note, I've got to go and get to the airport. So, shall we wrap up and wish everyone a happy Friday?
Yeah, happy Friday, everyone. Rhys will be in Vietnam working next week.
I have a few important meetings, I'll have you know.
Yeah, good stuff. Well, now, thanks everyone for watching, and you'll be back next week?
I will be back. Yes,
you will be back next week.
Usual
Cool.
time.
Well, usual time, usual place. Thanks, everyone.
Cheers.